Okay, so let's have a look at some of the answers to this first task here. We have a bar chart here, and it says in this box here, this bar chart shows how many children attend an after-school club. So just looking at the bar chart, there are a couple of things I've noticed. There's gaps in between each of the bars. That's not going to affect the bar chart data at all, so I'm just going to ignore that, that's fine. I can see that on the horizontal axis here are the names of the different days. So if this bar chart showing how many children attend after school club, those must be the different days that the children attend the after school clubs. And then on the vertical axis up here, I've spotted something majorly different from the previous bar charts. What's the same? Well, it's still vertical. It's still incremental, so the number's getting bigger each time. What's the different? It's not going up in ones this time. It's going up in tens. I can see that here. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. So recapping the videos previously that you've watched, why is it going up in tens and not ones? Well, that's because the data that they've got, they've asked a lot more children, or they've counted a lot more children in their data. So because on Wednesday there were 100 children attending that school club, if the vertical axis was going up in ones, we wouldn't have room to include this bar chart on this slide. So because of the amount of data, they've decided to change that vertical axis so they can still keep the bar chart in a small, neat graphic there. So we've got to keep that in mind. It's key to finding out the answers to these questions. So I can clearly see Wednesday has more people going, Friday has the least amount of people going, and then there's some data in between. Now I'm going to go to the questions, which become easier because I've looked at the bar chart first. So which day is the most popular? Well, looking at my bar chart here, I can see that actually Wednesday was the most popular. Just going to move that down there. Wednesday is the most popular because 100 children attended it, and 100 is more than the other days. So there I've tried to extend my answering, not just to say Wednesday. I've really tried to put that word because in and to explain my thought process a bit more. Question 2. Which day is the least popular? Move this box for the answer. So the least popular, that should be a lowercase l. The least popular day is Friday. Only 50 people attended club on Friday. And I can tell that if I go back to my pointer here, I can see that on Friday, if I drew my line across, it would be in line with 50. So only 50 people attended the club on Friday. And question 3, how many more people went to a club on Thursday than on Tuesday? Again, this is a slightly more challenging question because it's not just have a look at Thursday data or have a look at Tuesday data. It's have a look at the Thursday data and then compare it to the data on Tuesday and then use some maths involved as well. So I'm going to look at the Thursday data over here. I'm going to draw my line across and I can tell that 80 people went to that club on Thursday. Right, got to keep that in my mind. 80 people on Thursday. I'm going to look at Tuesday. I draw my line across and 70 people went to club on Thursday. So great. 80 people went to club on Thursday and 70 people went to club on Tuesday. And the question is, how many more people went to club on Thursday than on Tuesday? So how many more is 80 than 70? Well, I know that that's 10 more than 70. I know that 8 is 1 more than 7. So 80 is 10 more than 70. So my answer is 80 people went to the club on Thursday and 70 people went on Tuesday. I know that 80 is 10 more than 70, therefore 10 more children went to the club on Thursday. Again, in my answer there, I've tried to extend my answer and I've tried to explain more about what was happening up here whilst I answered it. That's the challenge really. I could have just put 10, but the challenging part is to write that sentence and explain your thinking behind it. So well done if you got those correct, and extra well done if you explained them, your thinking, your reasoning a bit more. If you made a mistake, that's okay. Go back to it, find out where your mistake was. Maybe you didn't draw your line across properly. Maybe you thought that it was going up in ones on the vertical axis. Maybe you counted the Wednesday instead of the Thursday. But make sure you know what that mistake is and make sure you learn from that mistake.